I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is The Entrepreneurial Mind. Today my guest is Laura Janicek. We'll be back to talk with her after this. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you for having me.
So it's always fun to have somebody here who I've worked with as a customer. And so the work you do is with infant photography. And we had the pleasure of working with you with two of our last two grandchildren that were born. How in the world do you get into taking these pictures of babies? Because the first time my wife showed me the website, I was going, wait, how can you bend babies that way to do those weird kind of things?
It does look like it's very challenging, and it does take a lot of practice. For me, I was already into...
How do you practice on this?
Find some people who are wanting pictures of their babies and offer it for free.
Yeah, okay.
I just let them know up front, I'm practicing. I've been trained, but there's nothing like...
So there's specific training
There is
for
training.
Okay.
So I actually, when I decided to move into newborn photography from families, I found a mentor who's actually based outside of Atlanta, Laura Brett, with Laura Brett Photography, and she was great. I did a workshop with her. It was 2 days, and so I learned all about the newborn world, the equipment, the posing, everything involved. And then I came back home, and then I needed to practice. I found some...
and build a portfolio, too.
Exactly, right. So I found some families who were willing to bring their baby in and work with them free of charge, knowing that I was practicing and we would get what we would get. And so it actually went surprisingly well the first few times. So I thought, okay, I think, it doesn't hurt probably that I have 4 children of my own. So I'm used to babies and how to handle them. So,
well, back up just a little bit. So how did you first get into photography? Because you said you were doing family photography first. Where did that get started?
So, well, as I graduated from college, I was using a very different side of my brain. I was a CPA, and I worked in auditing and banking. And then when I had my first child, I stayed home. And then I have 4, and so while I was home with them, like a lot of parents, I wanted to photograph them and capture their childhood, and sometimes I would love the pictures as they came out of the camera, and sometimes they would be okay. So then I thought, rather than just let the camera decide, I'll go ahead and learn how to handle the camera myself manually. And from there, I photographed my kids, then my sister's kids, my brother's kids, my friends, and their kids, and then I thought, well, I'm doing this, so I might as well try to make a little money on the side while I've got the kids home. And for families, it's a weekend job, basically, because that's when everybody's together. And my husband...
So did you ever do weddings and things like that?
I never did weddings.
Okay.
But my husband was home on the weekend, so I could go out and photograph some families, and that's very fall heavy, I would say, because everybody wants, the weather's nice, everybody wants holiday cards. And so I started there, and then I thought maybe I should get a website going. So then I taught myself how to set up a website and optimize the site and the content to show up in Google. And then at about that time, I thought, as I was getting into the photography world on Facebook and Pinterest, and I was seeing the newborn work, and I thought, now that I really love that. I really love to do that. And my kids were trickling off to school at that time, too.
You missed the babies.
I did miss the babies. I still miss the babies. I want them in my studio all the time. And it actually works out really well because now my kids are in a lot of sports on the weekends, and new moms are home after they deliver, so they can come during the week. So it actually was kind of a great timing that it sort of worked together. So once I got the practice and I got the new babies up on my website, the Google was already pretty optimized for the search engine, and so I started getting inquiries, and it kind of took off more quickly than I thought.
Now, when we first worked with you with our 4th grandchild, you were doing this out of your home, and you had a bonus room in your house set up as a studio. And it was a pretty good setup in there for you.
Right.
Now you have a separate studio. Talk about that decision.
So I just moved into...
That's a big decision.
It
You're
is.
paying rent. And
It is. It's a good decision. It's good to be in a retail location. I think it gives people confidence, knowing that, I am paying rent, I am, a business,
Right.
and part of the community. And so that's been really nice, I think, to be able to say, here's my location, come and find me here. It's nice, it's comfortable, it's for parents, they're there for a while. We can be there from, an hour and a half to up to 3 hours. And so it's nice for me to have that space dedicated to my families and my babies.
No, your kids aren't going to come in and say, Mom,
Right. They're pretty good, but you never know.
Johnny just hit me.
Right.
So where do you want this to go? I mean, it started out kind of as a hobby, and it's become a business, and now it's like a real business.
Right, I know. It's funny how it takes those steps.
Right?
I actually do. I do have some help doing the bookkeeping as well. So that it's one of those things. Even though I can do it, it's one of those things that's sort of easy to.
So where do you want this to go?
Off. I like where I am right now. I think I've got a good workload to balance my kids and my business. I think down the road, I may like to help other up-and-coming newborn photographers learn how to pose safely and correctly and kind of grow their own businesses. So that's something I'm thinking about. I may not right away.
Right.
I kind of like my schedule right now with
Right.
the babies. I am at a point where I really am focused on newborns, and by extension, maternity and baby's first year. And then I still take on families that are growing with me. So I don't take new families, but I still take families that maybe have a 2, 3, 4-year-old who
Or
have been
occasionally
with me before.
a family of 10 that shows
An extended
up
family,
with an infant.
which was great. I mean, so much fun. So my schedule's really full, and there's babies born every day.
Right.
So
It's not seasonal.
It's not seasonal, which is one thing I like about it, because I don't have to feel like I've got to get everybody in October,
Right.
and I'm just crazy in October. It's nice to be able to spread it out throughout the year and be able to say.
Have you
it's
had
steady.
challenges balancing your success in business with your definition of success in terms of being a good mom and I mean that's got to get tough at times.
For sure. I mean, like anybody,
Right.
you're always stretched a little too thin. And while it's great that the business is growing, my kids are growing too, so they need me as well.
Sure.
So that's when I've reached out for things that aren't my favorite, like maybe accounting,
Right.
which is funny that was my background.
Right.
That's a nice thing to pass off. And I do a lot of times stay up a little too late, probably, in order to be there for my kids and their activities and dinner and homework and everything like that. I know that once they go to bed, I do have some time that I can work, or I can get up early before they get up. But even that's a challenge because I need to sleep too.
Right. Right.
But it is nice. I do have someone I've just recently started working with to help me with some of the basic editing, so that should help going forward as well, so I can do more sessions and maybe take some of the workload off on the back end. It takes a lot more work than you'd think to get.
Oh no,
it's not just take a picture,
no.
So
believe me, I know.
Yeah.
Just watching how it goes from the first proofs you show us to the final product. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. You do a fabulous job. So.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
having me.